Welcome to another episode of Educating Homebuyers, the podcast. I'm your host, Brady Hay, and my mortgage team has over 9 years of mortgage experience here in Des Moines, Iowa. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, investing, or simply just curious about the market, this show is all about helping you and future homebuyers feel informed, educated, and comfortable as you take your next step. Each week, I sit down with real estate professionals, past clients, and local experts to unpack real stories, real advice, and what you actually need to know when buying a home today. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Today, I'm joined by not only two sisters, but leaders of one of the most recognized teams in Central Iowa. With over 2,000 homes sold and nearly 30 years of legacy, this family-ranked team ranks in the top 1% in Iowa for both volume and homes sold. They're both known for the modern marketing strategies, bold branding, and leading a full-service operation that offers staging, client care systems, custom video content. Being third-generation real estate agents with degrees in finance and marketing, they bring investment, property expertise, organization, and a heart for client education from first-time homebuyers to investors. They're smart, strategic, and rooted here in Central Iowa. Today, I'm joined with Elli and Abigail Jennings. Girls, welcome to Educating Homebuyers.
Thanks, Brady.
Yeah, that was in unison. That was not planned, but I have to say that was a fantastic way to start the episode. I am so excited to have you guys. Obviously, we worked together for many, many years, helped many clients together, but excited to have you guys share your journey, share about how you guys go about helping educate home buyers, and just tell us, I guess, about how you got started and a little bit behind your story.
Well, as we've introduced, we're sisters, so we're only 18 months apart. We are, as you mentioned, third generation real estate agents. So we grew up watching our folks be immersed in the real estate industry. To be honest, and I know Abigail can attest to this, our parents being real estate agents was so secondhand to us.
Yeah.
It was so natural. I mean, they were in the business before our memory even developed, And so it just was something that was always a part of our life.
Sure.
However, what I think a lot of people assume is that we were told, or it was almost a given that we were going to get into the business from an early age.
Mm-hmm. We were never pushed.
No, it was never
So it was a decision you made on your own.
Totally.
Yeah.
And really the only reason both of us got our license is because paying for college was on us kids.
Yeah.
And we both ended up going to Iowa State.
Okay.
Actually, I wanted to get into ag business.
Okay.
I had a plan to, we grew up on a farm as well.
Yep.
I wanted to be a woman in sales, but ag business sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed to make some money to pay for school. And so I saw an opportunity within the office. There was a need for agents. Were getting busy with kids. They were, doing other things. And I saw a need. I worked in the office throughout high school doing odds and end things in the closing department and everything like that. So I was like, really no intention to get my license, no intention to work for clients. But I was like, okay, I'll get my license and I can show properties for agents.
Yeah.
And I can make money by being what we'd call a showing agent.
Yeah.
Well, the first year, that's what it was for me. I know her story is a little different, but that first year, that was my intention. I am doing this to make some money and with every intention of
Probably moving on, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I had a kind of a cool opportunity that summer to host a couple of open houses, and I had asked the agents that were having me host, like, hey, if an agent, buyer comes in unrepresented, what do you want me to do with the client?
Yeah.
Again, I had no intention to represent anyone, but the listing agent was like, why don't you take on the client? And I'm like, okay.
Is that how that works?
And
cool.
Very seldom. I mean, we host open houses for our listings all the time with the possibility that a buyer could come through and be interested in the home. But very seldom does that happen.
Or the intention, really. I mean, the intention is to display the property.
Right, exactly. Additional marketing, everything like that. So very seldom do you get the opportunity to meet a potential client, a buyer, and, move on with that process and secure a relationship. Well, call it beginner's luck, call it what you will. I had 2 sets of clients walk through those open houses.
Your first open house? Or
yes.
How crazy is that?
First weekend, 2 open houses, 2 walked through, unrepresented. And I was like, all right, bet. And so I
Were we saying that however many years ago that was? I know that's a new trend.
That's one of those moments where you can say it's in our blood.
Yeah.
I guess,
when it seems like it's meant to be, like that literally I don't like saying that because I know how hard you girls work, but like it did kind of fall into your lap as the opportunity was just presented
Yeah.
Day one almost.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, and I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
19.
Yeah.
Imagine
So crazy.
trying to convince somebody to work with you.
Yeah.
You know, make probably the biggest investment they'll ever make in your life.
Right.
And you're 19 years old. And candidly, I was living in a sorority house.
Right.
But I
And this was on a Sunday, so, chance of a hangover maybe involved.
we had to sacrifice a little bit in college.
Yeah.
Working full time is what
Yeah.
it ended up growing to be. But we still, lived a
Still enjoyed your
normal
years.
life. Yes,
No doubt.
absolutely. Wouldn't change anything about it. But yeah, I took the opportunity. We've learned from the best, with watching our parents do what they did, and so much advice and so many great lessons learned just from watching them and being in the car listening. And so I truly took the opportunity, and it honestly, my career snowballed from there.
Yeah.
What led from 2 clients unintentionally planning to be an active agent turned into working full time by my junior year. And then by the time I had graduated, I think I had helped, that following year, like 50 to 60 clients that year. And it just continues to grow, and we continue to learn from the best. But that's my story and how I got into it. What was, hey, I need to make some money, turned into, actually, I think I'm really good at this.
And you enjoy it, and you feel that passion to be able to help people too. I think you discovered that at a young age too.
Thanks.
So, all right, your turn.
Yeah, as Ellie stories are similar but different. My story, I got licensed when I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school.
You beat her by a year.
We both got licensed at 18. The difference was I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go into it full time. She had every intention to.
Not necessarily, no.
No?
Not every intention, no. But similar, paying for college was definitely top of mind.
Yeah.
I knew I needed a job in college. I had seen not only our parents, but Ellie do really well in real estate. Also, aunts and uncles are also licensed in the real estate industry in different states. And so I was like, well, why not? I might as well give it a shot. I had previously worked at Wallabies, which is a local restaurant in Ames, as a hostess, and I knew that I was kind of over that. So got licensed. And my first year, I would say I started kind of like job shadowing more, but similar to Ellie's story, was showing houses for agents. I really didn't take on clients until probably 6 months in.
Okay.
But one of my very first clients was actually a college friend of mine. Their dad wanted to purchase a townhome in Ames for them to live in.
Okay.
And so that was probably my first, client that was
Trusting you to represent them.
Yes, yeah. And from there, it kind of just snowballed, but represented them. They were obviously kind of considered an investor.
Yeah.
So also, my first year in college, I started a property management company as well. So I started managing properties myself because for some reason...
Your average 18 and 19-year-olds here, everybody.
For some reason, and I learned so much, but for some reason, I had just worked with some different investors that first year. And from there, it snowballed. Like real estate, I always say, is kind of one of those industries that year after year, your client, as long as you're doing things, correct and you're hustling and working hard, it snowballs. Yeah. And client after client, it just continues to snowball. So
you build a reputation and people refer you. And
I think that's the best lesson that if there's any industry professionals listening to this, doing things the right way for people and growing that way organically and naturally through the art of referral is the best way to do it. Right.
It feels amazing. It's so rewarding.
And you only earn that referral if you do it right for the people that you work with first. Right. Yep. And I tell that to all my clients when I meet with them for the first time. It's like, listen, obviously my business only grows if I gain referrals, right? But I can't earn that referral if I don't execute for you first, which is why we're having this conversation, And I think that's, if there's anything that I learned originally is don't be transactional. It's let's dive deep into the heart of this person and what their story is and grow from that. And even if that means, I've always accepted, even if that means maybe helping less people, but doing it the right way, to me, that's more important than just turning and burning a bunch of people,
At the end of the day, when, working with clients, at least my goal is to get to a point where they are so satisfied with the services and my communication and just professionalism that they refer me to their friends and family that are moving to the area or will want to work with me again. Referral business is huge.
Yeah, no doubt. I love it. So that's, early years, right? We're talking supporting college, introductory into that. Graduation happens for both of you and you kind of just jump in. What then from a growth standpoint, or did you make any changes after you were out of school, to go full time, or what did that, I guess, transition look like?
I would say, my biggest difference from graduating is in college. I will say I was always a little bit oh my gosh, I'm so young. I kind of had this insecurity. I didn't want to tell my clients that I was in college and was in a sorority, living in a sorority house. So I would say my confidence just increased so much once I graduated.
Because you got to be a full-time professional.
Yes. And I had worked with so many clients by that point. I mean, same with Ellie. We both were working full-time in college.
It felt a little bit like a double life.
Yes,
Yeah.
we had a double life.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And so after I graduated, my confidence just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because I had so much experience under my belt already, or just that, pressure of not being in college anymore. I don't have to, be insecure about that. So I think confidence just really drove my business from there on out. It's a field that you do have to be confident in. And there's lots of negotiations, difficult, situations. And so all of that, you got to be confident. You got to be.
But you gain that confidence by the experience you have, right?
Yeah.
So the more people you help, the more situations you're able to deal with, the better you're able to deal with them again, right?
Yep.
I say all the
Experience
time,
is helpful. Yeah, definitely. And having that to back you up, years in the business, definitely. But, we were obviously 19-year-olds at one point trying to gain confidence from clients. And I would argue for anybody that's new in the industry or whatever industry you're in, if you're new and you're insecure about being the newbie, is you have to fake it till you make it.
Right.
And that takes a
And
level of
the only way
craft.
you can learn is by experiencing it, and diving in. It's not like you get to trial run with some fake or prospective clients. You really just have to earn that trust and then go through it and experience it.
There's, you can also, there's a level of knowing what's going on in the market.
Yes.
And knowing the inventory and knowing the data and being able to, you have to study.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different
So
than.
what does that education look like? How do you stay up to date on trends and market statistics and things like that to help educate your home buyers, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, daily market research. I mean, I'm on the MLS every single day, multiple times a day. I always tell clients, I'm like, I feel like it's my main used social media in a way, but for houses. And so studying that and just being aware of what's coming on the market, what's selling quickly. And then also too, just having listings and knowing, I have a list.
second nature.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're representing
it's
both
just-
sides. So you can kind of see what properties are selling at quick, rates and things like that. Seems like a good time to talk about it, I guess, but give some people that are listening some insight into what have you guys been seeing market related wise right now? Buyers and sellers, listings and what's kind of the latest in the central Iowa market from a real estate standpoint?
It feels like we're coming into what I'd call a very balanced market.
Okay.
You price a home.
normal market.
A normal market, which is hard.
Yeah.
Anybody that asks me, we're always taught growing up, if someone asks you what the market is like, be honest. It's hard. It's hard to be an agent in today's market. It is hard to be a seller. It's hard to be a buyer. That's a normal market. It's not the 2020, 2021 rat race anymore.
Yes.
And so what that looks like, I mean, you can still see multiple offer situations. If a home is priced aggressively and it's shows to the nines and their listing agent has done everything to prepare them and that property to get ready for sale. Oh, 100%. We had 12 offers on one listing the other day.
Yeah.
7 on another the week before. It totally depends. But then you could have a property, I would say, homes that are maybe in that higher price range.
Okay.
Just given the economy and everything, have maybe more chance of sitting on the market a little bit longer.
Sure.
But it all comes down to price. Property's worth what someone's willing to pay. And
if you listed it for $1, it'll sell right away.
totally, that's the analogy we use
point.
all the time. But I mean, we're seeing some properties fly. We're seeing some properties sit on the market for, a while and across the board from whoever it's listed with. So,
Each property is very situational.
it's very situational, which is why you have to rely on your agent to a big part is, obviously, if you're working with a buyer's agent, helping you find the right property, but
Yeah.
communicating timeline.
Yeah.
Every situation is different. I have several clients who only come into town on the weekends to tour properties. And I have to remind them all the time, hey, if this property is screaming at you, let's get in for a virtual showing today.
Right.
Because it might not be here come Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Or there could be properties where it's like, guys, this house is not going anywhere.
Right.
But then again, you never know. House can be pulled up right from under you before you know it. So you have to rely on your agent to communicate.
I also think it's like, kind of like you said, it's case by case, right? And I think it's important for home buyers to understand that it's okay to be on your own timeline, right? So, while, if you see a property and it's like, hey, I can't be there till Saturday, and you as the realtors and the experts will say like, hey, this is probably going to sell before Saturday. It's okay for that client to say, that's okay, I'll let it go.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's their timeline. It's what makes the most sense for you. But you guys as the experts are doing your job to say like, listen, if this is one that you really have interest in, we need to make it a priority to go see it.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember as a buyer is the market in Iowa typically, depending on the price point, depending on the house, but a lot of times it moves quickly.
Yeah.
So time is of the essence.
Right.
So if you are actively and aggressively searching, you need to be prepared, you need to be on your toes and listen to your agent. If they think it'll sell before the weekend, listen to them, do that virtual showing. You never know.
And do that prep work ahead of time.
Yeah, if you're working with a good agent, they can tell you.
Yes.
They'll know. Is this property going to last? Is it going to be here within your agent will know.
Well, and frankly, I feel like a lot of buyers, at least the ones that I'm lucky enough to connect with, they have a good idea too, for the most part, it seems like, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like they kind of understand when a unique property pops up that really meets, and frankly, especially depending on the price point they're looking in, they may already know that they're kind of looking for a diamond in the rough too, So
the good news is inventory has, is increasing.
It's opened up a little bit?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not the rat race like it was in 2021.
And I think that Iowa is probably a little bit more protected than national average, I would say, based on my perspective.
Yeah, you often hear that we're, surrounded by a bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we both tell clients, Central Iowa, we are in a little housing bubble.
Yeah.
Compared to the rest of the country, it's pretty stable.
Yeah.
It is.
Agreed. I think I saw something on Twitter the other day, or X, I guess, technically. The number of listings outweighs the number of active buyers. And I don't know how they
calculate that.
Classify an active buyer, I guess, but it said it outweighs it by like 20% nationwide, which is like the greatest number ever, supposedly, is what they said. But I personally don't feel that in our market.
No, definitely
and so,
not.
I'm not saying it's not the case in other markets. That very well could be the case. I can give an example firsthand that, the area my parents live in, Florida, there's been some price reductions down there. And, that's definitely happening in certain markets, but I don't feel that happening in our market. In Central Iowa, I feel very protected. And at the end of the day, prices, they come back to like what you guys talked about, is a house is worth what a person's willing to pay for it.
Right.
And we still have those buyers, and there's ways to get creative with a financing structure to make homeownership still affordable in today's world.
Totally.
So that's always what I put emphasis on, and why I think it's so important for, if you're a first time home buyer or just a repeat buyer or anybody in the market right now, one of the most important tips I'll give you is understand your comfort level rather than your maximum pre-approval, or don't go set your budget based on a price. Understand your comfort level from a monthly payment standpoint, and work with a group of professionals that can help you navigate that to make sure that
100%.
payment is in your comfort zone.
I always tell a buyer before you go talk to a lender, the most important question you ask yourself or number you bring into that conversation is, what is a monthly payment we want to be at?
Yep.
And then I use the analogy that your financing is a recipe.
Yeah.
What are the ingredients that we use to get you to that payment? Because there are so many options, and your lender will go over this with you, from loan type to interest rate to, do you qualify for any first-time home buyer sort of, or do you work in a profession where you fall into some sort of financing, so on and so forth. It's a recipe. And that's the analogy I always use. What is the recipe to get us to this monthly payment?
Yeah. And the recipe can change, based on the day, and so that's why I always say, like, if you're pre-approved, I'm not just going to send you a pre-approval letter and say, good luck, go find a house. I want to be involved in that search process. And I want to be involved in that search process and make sure that before you even go look at a house, you're okay with that payment. because I don't want you to go fall in love with it and then hate the payment.
Most buyers, and this is totally normal for anyone listening, most buyers don't even know what a mortgage payment consists of.
Or what's included in it.
No idea. No idea.
I explain it all the time. I said there's 5 main things included in a mortgage payment, and not all 5 of them may apply to you. So it's important to understand what your financing situation is before we go dive in.
Right.
And so that's why, like, again, when I'm doing a pre-approval process with somebody, I'm not just going to jump in and say, good luck, you're done. You know, you did what you need to do. It's be thorough and understand and educate, and go back and educate what that looks like for them and make sure they understand. Because if we go from one product to another, you know, it could completely flip and change what that payment looks like for somebody, you know, and, you know, why I focus on goals so much over just a maximum pre-approval is if you tell me your number one priority is the amount you have to bring to closing and you're more flexible on what your payment is, then we know we need to prioritize a down payment assistance program. Right. But if you rank that cash to close portion lower on your goals list, then we know we need to focus on, you know, what's the lowest monthly payment option. So lots of different ways to structure that. But I think if there's a point that we could drive home there is like home ownership is still achievable in today's market.
Absolutely.
And arguably more achievable than what it used to be. Just with the inventory opening up a little bit, you've got a little bit less competition. But I think it all starts with the preparation and connecting with a professional to figure out your goals.
Yeah. That, and also too, I mean, rents in central Iowa have gone up quite a bit the last couple of years as well. And so when you reach a point where you're paying so much in rent, you could essentially buy a home for nearly the same payment and be, you know, increasing your equity every single payment. And putting your money into a smart investment because Iowa is such a stable housing bubble.
But that's the problem is people assume, you know, they assume that this isn't for me. This is not something I can afford. And this is something I constantly remind my clients too, is it costs no money to talk to a lender. And I joke that it's sometimes the best free financial advice anyone can get.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to somebody yesterday and they were asking me advice on like how to pay off credit cards or what student loans to tackle and things like that. And it's like not even a mortgage related question, but we're still putting a plan because they're 8 months out or 12 months out from their overall financial, like actually want to move forward on a house, but they want to know what steps to take before we get to that point. And so I was telling them like, hey, here's what credit cards I would tackle, that kind of thing.
Well, how many times have we connected clients, mutual clients of ours to credit repair companies? You
100%.
know, that's something, you know, you go to get pre-approved, talking about free financial advice. How many times have we had clients be like, I didn't realize that was dinging my credit. You know, even small things.
Or even people that don't have credit scores. I've run into that too. But I mean, everything is possible. It's just you have to put yourself in a situation to prepare and get the advice you need so that when you're ready to purchase a home, you have it all sorted out. You know?
I don't know a single real estate agent or lender that requires you to pay to talk to them.
Right. And if they do, that's a
weird.
major red flag. For sure. Let's dive deep into your guys' preparation process, because I'll say from my perspective, working with both of you, I would argue that you are some of the best, if not the best in the business as far as like expectation setting and laying out the process. So, you know, you could paint the picture yourself. What would that ideal process look like when you receive a new potential home buyer opportunity? Both of you give your opportunity, but like what steps do you guys normally take a client through on how they learn what the process looks like?
Well, I'd say, go ahead.
Okay. Ellie and I probably have very similar processes, but we both do buyer consultations, regardless of whether you are a first-time home buyer or potentially you're a seller and buying a new home. But we set up an hour to sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hour long meeting.
Depends long.
With clients, and we literally go over every single thing. We go over every term in the purchase agreement, every step along the way. You know, from earnest money to inspection to appraisal, pest inspection, like all of these terms. We go over all of that. We explain you know, what the potential hazards in Iowa could be. So lead-based paint, radon, all of those items. And then we always connect them if they don't already have a local lender that they've worked with in the past or that they weren't, you know, necessarily happy with. We connect them with a local lender that will take care of their financial needs. But setting up, you know, that buyer consultation and understanding their timeline, what they need, all of those items, you know, we spend quite a bit of time with our clients right off the bat.
Just if you were to have it your way, how early in the process would you prefer a buyer to make that decision to reach out?
honestly,
schedule something like that?
I always say it's never too soon. So
Okay.
if you're looking ahead in a year to purchase a home, you can schedule an appointment with me tomorrow and
Yeah.
I'd be happy to assist. And we're just that much more prepared.
Yeah.
I've also had clients where they send me a home, they're not prepared at all, and they want to see it tomorrow, and we get them pre-approved that same day.
And we can make it happen.
And we make it happen. Yeah. So it's definitely situational
Sure.
per client. But yeah, we spend a lot of time with our clients before we even look at a single house.
Yeah.
Typically.
Love it.
Real estate agents were a better word to say it as maybe more like a real estate consultant. You know, you think about going to speak with your financial advisor, you're going to meet with them in person and you're going to be with them for a chunk of time to really understand your options and get that education.
Yeah.
There's no different, it's no different than buying a property or selling a property.
Right.
And as a client, you deserve proper education. There's a reason that the National Association of Realtors started implementing a buyer agency agreement before a property is sold. I tell people, like any industry, there are bad eggs
Yep.
that don't take the time to give you the proper education anybody deserves.
For sure.
Especially first-time home buyers who have, they could have their PhD for Pete's sake and have diddly squat knowledge in terms of buying a property.
Yeah, you're not taught to purchase a home in
No.
school.
Yeah.
at all.
No.
Which is a wild
nowhere.
concept,
It
by
is
the
a
way.
wild concept. And, not everyone goes on to buy a home, but
Yeah.
most people do.
Right.
But anyway, so like I said, any buyer deserves the time and education, whether they go on to work with that agent or not. But
Yeah.
I'll be completely candid. Selfishly, a lot of times, it's a mirror effect of not only does the buyer deserve this proper education, but selfishly, I want to respect my time down the road. Like, I'd rather sit with you as a potential client for 2 hours, not knowing if you're going to work with me, to get you feeling prepared, know
Yeah.
if we're a good fit. When you're working with a real estate agent,
Yeah.
we're going to spend a lot of time together.
Yep.
And I haven't always been the right fit for clients. I'm not going to act like I have.
Yeah.
So determining, are we a good fit? Will you trust me? Can I trust you?
Yes.
So on and so forth. But I'd rather explain all of this to you now than the first thing I say at the beginning of every single buyer consultation is the real estate industry is not Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. A house could come for sale 6 p.m. on Friday night and be sold by 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah.
So imagine you see a property you want to buy. Maybe we go tour it by, we're in by 6:30.
Yeah.
We're on top of it. And we find out that we need to have an offer in by 8 p.m.
Got to make a decision quick.
You've never seen a purchase agreement. You have no idea what your options are. And all of a sudden, we're rushed to make this happen. I cannot tell you how many times that's happened to clients before.
Yeah.
So many times.
So the benefit
When it hurts
of,
your heart, right? Like to have
Yes.
to try to act and put them into that position.
But
not to mention, it's a Friday night.
Yeah.
We all have lives.
Right.
And so I'd rather sit with that client, get them feeling confident. So if we need to pull the trigger right away, hit
Yep.
the gas pedal,
Yep.
we're prepared. So
Yeah.
it's not only hey, this is what you deserve.
Yeah.
Not everybody offers this, but this is what you deserve. But also, this is going to make you feel a lot more confident
Right.
later on. Trust me.
And I think that like one of the bad stigmas that our industry always gets is like how many deals can go astray or fall apart and things like that. And I'll tell you selfishly, I've really only implemented mortgage consultations, like full on meetings, like what you guys do on my end, probably like 8 to 10 months ago, I would say. And I have significantly decreased the amount of problem files that I have since I implemented those, simply just because we get everything laid out there up front. We go over every possible red flag or detail or everything that could go wrong, and we set clear expectations. And then what I do, and I know you guys do yours in person, I do mine virtually and I record them and I use AI to take notes. So then not only am I having the recording to look back on, but I also have this AI notes now that I can email all parties involved so they know everything we talked about.
Yep.
And then we lay it all out there and we understand what are those goals, what did we discuss, what are potential red flags, and it just is like not only increase or decrease the amount of problems that I've had, but also significantly increase the client experience and more 5-star reviews.
It serves as an outline for
It
those
does.
people. I mean, you just emailed me yesterday with an outline
Yeah.
of what you talked about with a mutual client,
Yeah.
and it is helpful, and there's so much information when purchasing a home.
There is.
So something to look back on, you know, and Ellie and I, we send a lot of emails with a lot of information.
Yeah.
And specifically, we do that because we want the client to have it in place. So when they come back for a question, well, kinda
Refer to this
reference that.
document or refer to this email. Yeah.
Answer their question, obviously, but
of course.
they have something to reference. So it serves as an outline.
Yeah,
I've
for
been
sure.
implementing buyer portals lately where I have a link to everything
Yeah.
we've already talked about. Guides, hey, you're required by law to go over lead-based paint, right on.
Yeah.
Health concerns, structural related issues, all those items. And I put it all there, and I even upload, information about properties of interest. Here's where I'm going to, fuel all the seller's disclosures that we're looking at later today. So, it's, some people, they type A, buyers, they really appreciate it. Some buyers, they're like, Ellie, just tell me what to offer.
Right.
And like,
I just want to buy the house.
Exactly. But I do the same for everybody, just,
Of course.
Because again, it's what they deserve, but also just from
it's a consistency basis, right? And I think that that's what you guys have built your brand around. And it's cool that it's not all show online, and it's actual execution, right? And I think that
systems, it's a, service industry, but it's also like, this is a business that we're running. We run a good business, a well-operated business, and there's systems in place to ensure
I
it's
feel
out
like
there.
from a third party, it's so easy, and we'll talk about this in a sec, because I want to talk about the platform you guys have worked so hard to build from an online presence standpoint. But I think that from a third party, it's probably easy to see you guys as influencers, and maybe you just have somebody else handle everything else, or like you're not good at it. But the thing I can vouch for is that you're actually doing the hard work behind the scenes too. And you're doing all these things that you're talking about online, and that's like one of the coolest things from my perspective to see is like, it's not just a really good marketing tactic. It's actual execution for your people too. So I guess better time than ever to kind of transition into the social media space. But like, I know it's changed your guys' lives, but I'd love to have you guys both touch on like, A, what's your motivation behind it? And B, like, talk about how you've built the platforms that you have from a social media standpoint.
I mean, when I graduated from college, I didn't want to just, do what everybody else was doing. I think there's an element of pride. You come from a family business, and, people can assume all they want, XYZ's been handed and everything like that. Well, I wanted to create my own brand, and I wanted to look at my business and be like, yeah, I did that myself.
Mine.
I did that. Yeah. And so I wanted to set myself apart. I've always had kind of a creative ability. Okay. And so I was like, you know what? These new, TikTok is this new social media platform. Yeah. And I'm learning it just like everybody else is. And it kind of just was a switch in me that was like, Ellie, just start putting yourself out there. Like, you have all these ideas and stories to tell and everything like that. And at first there was definitely an insecurity of like,
no doubt,
oh my gosh, what will my peers think of me? And I'm sure people judge. And I'm sure to this day I look back at videos and I'm like, that was so cringy.
Our first videos they're still up probably.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to say
that. Hey, I'm not ashamed of that one. But it was, I started pushing out a lot of social media marketing in terms of just being a real estate agent. I definitely honed in on the fact people liked that I was sharing a lot of relatability to living in Iowa. And I was proud of the fact that I grew up in Iowa. And hey, here's why I stay. Here's why you might want to live here. People loved it. And I was super consistent with it. At the time, I was pushing out 3 videos a day because I had the time to do it. Sure. I was building my business, and the consistency and just the confidence that came with, I stopped caring what I assumed other people were saying. Whether it was true or not, it was probably all in my head. Yeah. But I was super consistent with it, and I developed a brand, and it, like I said, I wanted to do what other people weren't doing. And I think, so a lot of people are implementing social media today.
Without a doubt.
Doing it well.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I started with that when I did. And now it's become a point of, people are working with me and selling their properties because they know the marketing that I'm willing to do for their home. Yeah. And it is selling our listings. Yeah.
It's a major advantage.
Yeah. I tell my clients, hey, putting a sign in your yard and putting your property up on the MLS is the bare minimum. Yeah. Working with a professional photographer is the bare minimum. Yeah. My job is to expose your property to as many people as I possibly can. Yeah. Yes, buyers that are actively looking with a real estate agent, but what about the person that maybe hasn't started looking? They see this adorable property that's come for sale in West Des Moines that fits maybe what they're looking for. Why don't we set up a showing? Yeah. I cannot tell you how many people from the marketing that we do on social media reach out to our team directly because they've seen our videos or our marketing and end up buying the house.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite stories.
Love it. Let's do it.
I had a listing, this was about a year ago, and like any of our listings, it doesn't matter the price point, we're going to market the heck out of it. Every property has its own, tailored marketing plan. But at the final walkthrough, the buyers wanted the sellers to be present, so I was there as well. Okay. And we were done with the final walkthrough, kind of congregating in the kitchen, and the buyers look at me, the listing agent, and they go, we weren't really even actively looking for a home, but our son sent us your listing video. And so when we saw it, we're like, we need to go see that property. And they brought a full price offer opening weekend and bought the property.
So cool.
So anyway, that's, it's developed into something where what started as a way to put my name out there has turned into a brand and a strategy for my clients. Totally.
That's exactly what it is. And I think it benefits more than just your listing clients too. I think the buyers get benefit as well from both sides. There's a huge value of it, and you've raised the bar on an expectation of what that needs to look like. Totally. And what clients deserve to see.
You.
So
I think social media, is just one of those areas, I guess, where you can build so much trust with people who are seeing your content
before they even meet you.
Yes, and they feel like they know you.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so when they do become ready to purchase a home or sell their home, they're like, wait, we should reach out to that Abigail girl or that Ellie girl that we follow on Instagram, or we see their videos all the time, because they see us as a professional and they trust us because we are authentic in ourselves and we've built that brand.
Yeah.
And buying and selling is such an emotional, it can be such an emotional
Normally it is.
journey. Normally, outliers for sure. And I would say trust. I would argue that trust is the number one quality that clients look for in their agent. Yes, experience. They want someone who knows what the heck they're doing. Yeah. But trust, and when you're putting yourself out there and showcasing not only your ability and your experience, but your personality and your character, that is the winning combination.
No doubt. Yeah, and you have to have that care for the person you're representing, and they have to feel that. They have to feel the comfort to be able to reach out to you if they have questions. Totally. So you've both done an incredible job.
Social media is a business tool.
No doubt.
It is, and if you're not using it in today's world, I know plenty of amazing, successful agents that don't utilize social media maybe the way some others do, but it is a business tool and more people should look at it that way.
How do you handle, both of you for that matter, how do you handle avoiding burnout and still being passionate to do these things? And I have my speculations on how you do it, but I'd love to hear from your perspective because I know I deal with it firsthand.
I think when it really comes down to it, it's all about setting boundaries and also communicating with your clients about, when you're available, that sort of thing. I mean, Ellie and I work late nights on the weekends. But when you are going to take a couple hours to yourself, putting our phones aside or, so burnout is definitely a real thing in the real estate industry. I know we've both felt it before where we just have really, really busy weeks and we're exhausted. But, knowing that we have to also sometimes put ourselves at the forefront, take care of our mental health so that we can be charged up and ready to go the next day is super, super important. But in our buyer consultations, we always have a communication with our clients like, hey, typically when are you guys available so that you can be prepared, when working with that client, okay, they're going to be available these times. Another really great asset we have being on a team is we have other members on our team. So if we can't show a house, we can ask, or maybe we have another showing and now, we have to be two places at once. We fill in for each other all the time. Yeah. And so that's a benefit of being on a team. And we have wonderful staff. Our marketing director and our transaction coordinator, they handle a ton of things behind the scenes as well. So just, the team aspect really helps take some things off of our plates.
It comes down to, again, real estate is not Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Right.
And so there's a huge benefit and asset as a client in working with a team, a well-oiled machine working team that has we always say we're like a mini army. And when I meet with my clients, you're going to get me the majority of the time. You know, I've been reminding clients this year, my sister gets married this year. I'm going to be gone a couple weekends.
And I think that's a really positive lesson for people, especially that work as hard as you guys do, is like people that you're working for and representing are okay with you being humans and having lives. So it's okay to disconnect and enjoy your sister's wedding and taking that time to yourself.
And we do, and we know how to communicate. Communication is everything.
Yeah, as long as you let them know, like, hey,
industry.
listen, you know, this is what I have going on this weekend. I'm available any other time. I tell them the tagline I always use for my clients is, I work when my eyes are open. It's the verbiage I use. If my eyes are open, I'll work for you, you know, and like I've proven that over the years of doing that. But also, I also love unplugging, you know. So for example, I literally leave this week for a family fishing trip, and I'm going to make sure that I let people know, like, hey, I'm going to be off the grid for a few days.
And taking that time makes you a better lender. It makes you a better professional because it helps alleviate burnout. We're my sister and I are very, very, and my brother, blessed that we grew up watching our parents do what they do. Yeah. Because they instilled in what I would say is of incredible work ethic.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up on a farm. So, I mean, there was always something that had to be done. And so Ellie and I mean, ever since we were teeny tiny, we were out on the farm helping dad or in the garden helping
busy
mom.
bees.
Yeah, we were constantly busy.
But it comes with joy.
Yeah.
And we're very motivated by seeing we work incredibly well as a family.
Yeah.
And we're constantly motivating each other, but also encouraging each other to take breaks.
Without a doubt.
You know, and
I think what I've found too is that the busier you get, how much easier is it to show up every day when you get to work with great people? Like that's like been the coolest thing for me is like yesterday and today for some reason have just been utter chaos in the best way possible. I've just had a lot on my plate between, you know, new home buyers, some closings coming up, filming this podcast. I did a webinar yesterday, training, you know, and I just had a lot going on. But I've done it with such joy and grace because it's all great people that I get to interact with, and it's all good things.
Yeah, and the cherry on top.
It's not, and even some of the fires that I've been fighting over the last few days, trying to navigate deals that comes with it. It's not all positive stuff, but I've done it with a gracious heart because I'm just thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, and I've gone through seasons where things are slower, and it's you don't ever take those for granted until you actually
makes you grateful. Our dad said the other day, I mean, I'd be lying if I told you we don't hit burnout. We absolutely do. Our industry is something that there's no boundaries. It's, and you know, business comes and how do you say no? That's how we make a living.
Without a doubt.
You know, it's not hey, this is how you're going to put food on the table, and you know what that is at the beginning of the year. You have to work for it. And we know that, so we're not trying to play victim here, you know. But we were, as a family, we talk shop a lot, and I was, you know, having the conversation. It's busy season. It's no different than being an accountant. You know, you got to make hay when the sun shines. And I was like, you know, sometimes I'm just like, when do I get a day where I'm just like, get to be outside in the garden, and I'm just like, you know, not looking at my phone. And, my dad said, that's a great problem to have. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, it makes you so much more grateful for the days when you do.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah.
I just got goosebumps. Like, it's so true.
No, it's so true. You know? And, you know, if we continue to build our businesses the right way, hopefully the peaks and valleys will settle a little bit, and you'll have less of those valleys, you know, but you know, I've experienced what it's like to have slow seasons. You know, as rates went up in the mortgage industry, our job got really hard because home affordability was something that people just put on the back burner for a long time. So I experienced those slow seasons, and you know, it's ironic because rates haven't really improved, but I'm seeing an increase in buyer activity. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing or kind of what's leading to that.
People are getting used to it.
Yeah, it could
sure.
be.
People are tired of waiting.
I know, honestly. Seriously, though. But
they don't want to sign another lease.
For sure. But the point behind that is, like, I've experienced slow season, and I was fortunate because I chose to appreciate that slow season and take the deep breaths and work on things that can improve the client experience during those slow seasons, you know? So when I was doing less business, I can pretty confidently tell you I had more time to build out these buyer consults and make sure I was being thorough and like adding these extra things and starting a podcast. Do you think I would have started a podcast in 2021 when things were chaos? Probably wouldn't have had time. But now I get this platform to help people, you know, and like not only is this a platform to help educate the people listening, but it's also a great opportunity to, help give people like you guys exposure for doing all the great things you're doing and giving you guys a platform. And it things like this fulfill my heart so much. And it gives me purpose. And that's what I love about it, is like that slow season has given me the opportunity to make busy season.
Yeah. The work you put in during those times, it pays off, 6 months
For
down
sure.
the road when those systems are in place and they're working, or that client reaches back out to you because you gave them a phone call.
Without a doubt. And I could confidently tell anybody listening to this that I am a better loan officer today than I was 3 years ago because of that slow season.
For anyone that's, hustling and putting in the extra effort, working overtime, I heard this probably a couple months ago on a podcast, and I think of it every single day.
Yeah.
And it was something along the lines of, do you think there are people out there who are in the top 1%, super successful, that, don't work nights and weekends? And the gal that was being interviewed was like, okay, if there is, show me. And she goes, you can't tell me that, the top X percent of people aren't working an occasional night or weekends, and then she ends it. And this is what I repeat to myself every single day when I'm like, oh, I'm working until 9 p.m. tonight, and not that should be glorified. I want to put that out there.
Yeah.
It's not like, hustle culture should not be necessarily glorified,
right.
But you can't have an extraordinary life without extraordinary work. And that's what I constantly remind myself is, Ellie, you can't have an extraordinary life without extraordinary work. And what I'm doing is extraordinary.
Yeah. For sure,
it's subjective, but
the other day you even mentioned to me, I was we vent to each other a lot, being sisters,
Just healthy.
Yeah. And I was telling her, I was like, I just feel really, really stressed. I have a lot going on. And she's like, your weekend, appointments and overtime, late nights, you have a bachelorette coming up in a couple weekends, like that work.
Allow yourself to unplug then.
Yes. Yeah. That work that you're putting in now will pay off in a couple weekends.
Yeah.
And so I think that's,
I always like to try to give myself balance too. So if I work a really, really long, hefty day, I'll try to schedule in some me time, or, I'm a golfer, so I book a tea time on a weekend, or, something just to completely disconnect.
Yeah. It makes you a better lender, more prepared the next day.
And it allows me to, have that flexibility. And I'm so blessed with the company that I work for that they do allow me to do that. I don't have hours. I don't, they don't require me to have office hours or anything like that. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. But I think that balance is so important, that if you work long time, give yourself grace to.
But also know thyself. Our dad always says, you got to know yourself.
Yeah.
We know we broker owner of our Remax brokerage, and every year around awards season, you stand up there and you get your awards, and he's super excited for everybody, and everyone has different goals, but he stands up there and he goes, I just want to remind everybody that every single one of these agents' success looks different to each
Without
and every single one of these people, and so know thyself in terms of, some people they can work longer and harder than you.
Right.
I would say that's
doesn't mean they're better.
Biological.
Yes. Yeah,
it doesn't mean they're better.
Yeah.
No.
But if you're, if the key to happiness is to have a day off during the week, or you can only push yourself so far, know thyself.
Yeah.
And
not every business person's goal is to be in the top 1%.
No.
Some people just want to make enough money to support their family and have the freedom to do whatever they need
and
to
be
do. Happy
for them, and be happy for the people who are doing 3 times as much business
Without
as
a doubt.
you,
Yep.
We're all here, at the end of the day, we all die the same way, so
well, not the same way maybe, but
you know what I mean.
We all die eventually.
That is,
we all die
something
eventually.
we can't avoid by any means.
Just know thyself, and comparison is the thief of joy.
Without a doubt. Love to give each of you an opportunity. If you were to give a prospective home buyer to call you right now, what's one tip that each of you would give each other? Just kind of off the cuff, no pressure.
To one another, or
so if you were to talk to a prospective home buyer today, what's one tip you would give them?
Failure to plan is planning to fail. I would rather you meet with me, whether you end up buying or not. It's not a waste of time. I'd rather meet with you now, even if you're not looking to purchase or sell in a year, so that you know what your options are. Like I say time and time again, you never know when the perfect opportunity, time, or property will come for sale. I'd rather you be prepared, even if it's somebody you already own a home and you potentially looking to, whether it's upsize, downsize, whatever it is. We got to have a plan in our back pocket.
Yeah.
Properties, there is no code, regulation, law saying when properties can come for sale, how long they have to sit on the market. It is so situational.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather you reach out to me today. We can have a plan, tuck it in our back pocket, and then revisit when the right opportunity comes along.
Love it.
Honestly, I would probably say essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of common sense.
Yeah.
But I had a set of clients that I met with on Saturday, and they're not looking to move it like anytime super soon.
Yeah.
Right. But we had that conversation in preparation to list their home when they're ready. Kind of talked about the projects that they need to do. I told them, I was like, hey, probably should start talking about your financing. Will you be subject to sale? And so, yeah, I mean, not preparing is detrimental.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be prepared. You don't know when that perfect house is going to pop up or when you'll be ready. So, yeah,
Thinking about your agent as a consultant, I think, is a really good strategy.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know many real estate agents or lenders out there that, you know, charge like an attorney and bill you for every email you send or phone call.
No shame towards attorneys.
Yeah, no shame. But anyway, yeah, I think
it doesn't cost you to have a conversation with us.
No.
It's the best thing we can stress. And we want to be approachable. You know, that's why I think that when I started doing loans locally in central Iowa, frankly, it's scary to admit this, but it was over 8 years ago. But when I made that decision, I could have worked for a bank. I could have dressed up in a suit every day and been this mortgage banker, right? But I want to be approachable. And so that's why I've chosen a casual persona, I guess, if that makes sense. And so that's why you'll see me in golf attire and polos, because I just want to feel like somebody can approach me and ask me questions if they want to. And I'm not some stuffy guy that sits in an office and, you know, wears big Rolexes. And like, I just was never going to be me.
Most people aren't like that.
Yeah, for sure. And especially maybe it's specific to our market, I guess, and just being an Iowan. But my but my point is, I guess, is like, feel like you can work with somebody who you feel comfortable with. And we may not be the best fit for all of you, but we want you to know you can always reach out to us. So if that's anything that, you know, if there's a lesson you can take home from today's episode, is preparation is key, and work with somebody you're comfortable with and that's going to take the time to educate you on what you're getting yourself into.
Thanks, Brady.
Yeah, this has been awesome. I love just kind of ending things on an opportunity to give you guys a platform to plug yourselves as far as how people can reach out to you. I know social media is big. It's probably where people are seeing this. So if you want to plug your socials, you can do that. If you want to plug your email, whatever's best for you guys, I guess. Whatever your best format is. But if somebody's listening to this, how would they find you?
Instagram, Abigail Jennings _ and there's a link in my bio. So any other information that you need to know about me, my contact information, my email, phone number, ways to set up appointments are all on that link tree.
Love it.
So.
Same for you?
Ellie Jennings, just no E at the end of Ellie. You'll find
No,
me.
it's Ellie Jen.
Well, that's my handle. But
that's the handle on Instagram. We'll be sure to link everything in the description below. But listen, this has been an hour of just very packed content full of wonderful stuff that people can learn. And I tell everybody this all the time. I don't think an hour does it justice for you guys to share all the experiences and knowledge that you guys have. So I'd love to have you back on again on another episode here in the future. But it's been a pleasure to have you guys. I've obviously just adored working with both of you and helping represent your clients. I'm thankful for the opportunity. Thanks for being a resource for everybody that's listening. And I look forward to chatting with you guys again soon.
Thanks, Brady.
Oh, not in unison that time. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brady.